Hi, this is step number 3 in planning to be a young author. So, let's see. First, you did your brainstorming on a circle map, and you came up with your explain why topic. Secondly, the second thing that you decided to do was come up with your global reasons and your details that you were going to talk about. And so now it's time to plan out your story, okay? And as you are thinking about your global reasons and your details, sometimes you end up with ones that don't exactly fit places in that global reason. Because I might come up with, in paragraph number 1, that Mother Teresa was generous. Remember, that's from the other video. And I may have come up with 2 of them, but I couldn't come up with any more. Remember that? Well, let's say, as I was doing my research, I found this great idea about Mother Teresa, and I found out this great idea about Mother Teresa, and this I can't pass up because that was a great idea too, and this was a great idea as well. What do I do with these great ideas that don't fit with these global reasons? Ha! Got just the place for you. Those go in your introduction and your conclusion. Because remember, you're trying to introduce the topic. So let's say this one talks about Mother Teresa and what she did when she was a young girl. Well, it makes sense that if you're going to tell about Mother Teresa's life, that, young girl would be something you talk about first, not in a conclusion. So this would be a great idea for me to put in my introduction. Okay? And let's say I had another idea that I found out about something she did later in her life, or something else that she did to help people, or maybe it was a famous, I got a great idea. What if one of these is a famous saying that Mother Teresa used to say? Ooh, that would make your ending of your story be an excellent ending. Because if you could end on a note that Mother Teresa said this famous phrase, that would be a great way to just wrap things up, okay? Especially if it told why Mother Teresa was such a great person. So, anyways, the extra ideas that you got from doing your research, they go in your introduction and they go in your conclusion, okay? If they don't fit in one of your paragraphs. Make sense? I hope so. Once you come up with your ideas, remember that all good papers need a lead. So, once you come up with your topics for your introduction, then you can decide, how can I make my lead? Now, I've connected the video that I've used to teach you about leads before in the past. So, if you don't remember what a lead is, you can watch that video. But remember, that was something I used to teach you a long time ago, back in the fall. So, it's not necessarily completely connected to this paper. It's just to remind you of the different types of leads that you can use to write your paper. Okay? Now, after you finish planning this, the next thing you have to plan out are your transitions. Yeah, I know. Transition words. Well, transition words come in many different ways. Sometimes transition words come in single words, and sometimes they come in phrases. So, it is so easy to come up with transition words. They make lists. And all you have to do is use your list and plan them. Yep, that's an amazing thought, isn't it? You must plan your transitions. Because if you don't plan your transitions, you will forget them. And by the way, what happens if you use a transition, then another transition, then another transition, and then another transition in one paragraph? Well, it's like saying the same word over and over again. What if you started every sentence with the word and, okay? What if you had a transition word on every single sentence? Well, this is what it would sound like. Something like, well, in addition to going to the zoo today, I got to see a turtle. Furthermore, I would like to go see the giraffe, and certainly I love to have pizza at the cafe. Similarity. I would make sure I had a Coke. Okay, so do you get the point? When you go from transition, each sentence has a transition. It's just way too much. Okay? So be careful not to fall in that trap. it becomes like a grocery list, really, is what it is, because you give a transition word and then you tell an event, but you're not giving any details about it. And the details are the most important part, because I could say I went to the grocery store and first I went down the soup aisle and bought tomato soup, and then I traveled to the cracker aisle to make sure I had some crackers. Next I went to the tuna fish aisle and grabbed myself a can of tuna fish, and then in conclusion I went home and I made myself tomato soup and a tuna fish sandwich. Okay? Too many transitions. All I did was give you transition with a sentence, transition with a sentence, transition with a sentence. That is just a grocery list with transition words. So use your transitions, but make sure you are providing a transition word, then stating a topic or a sentence or whatever, and then giving details. Okay? Can transition words fall within that? Absolutely. You can say, well, you could use the word next or then or so. We have a whole list of them. So pick some that fall in there. Am I trying to say that you should only use one transition word in a sentence? I'm saying no. What I'm trying to say to you is you should not start every sentence with a transition word, which some of you have been doing. And I'm also saying you should not write without using a transition word. Okay? So how many transition words should you use in a sentence? A couple. One at the start, one in the middle. Yeah. Or, wherever it makes sense. And you have to be the judge of that, because I just can't tell you that. So, here we are. On your paper, it says plan your transitions. Make sure you plan out your transitions. And while you're planning out your transitions, make sure you're planning out your great word choices. Because we all know that if you don't have great word choices, then it becomes a telling paper, and the great word choices make it so that you show, don't tell. That comes along with all the details and examples that you're going to include. So if you know a great word choice that goes along with what you're talking about, then you should put it there. For example, if you're talking about a roller coaster, maybe a great word choice that you would write about the roller coaster would be the exact name of the roller coaster. Instead of saying, I went on a ride on a roller coaster, you would name it. Okay? Or maybe a great word choice that would be the sound that the roller coaster makes as it's chugging up the stair things, like chick, 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 chick. Oh, I hate roller coasters. Ah! This is step number 3. Happy planning.